Hi, it's Paula from Paula Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the magic numbers tutorial. Today we'll be working with different shapes from our trays. Actually, we'll be using all of the shapes, all of the sizes. However, we'll be playing with some contrasting colors. So what you will need is all of the shapes in your background fabric and all of the shapes in main fabric, let me say it that way, but for each block the main fabric can be different, and that's how I will do my pattern as well. So just to show you, those are all my background fabrics, so they are all bright-ish. Obviously you can build your own contrasting colors. It's just background and main color needs to be contrasting to have that pop. So I'm using bright fabric here. It's a mix of fabrics from all of my type of the boxes. Some are kids fabrics, some are flowers, some are just some more geometric ones. The other thing I'm doing here, as you can see, I'm actually using wrong side as a right side, because this would have been too dark for me. This one is perfect as a background. So you will need some 2.5 by 4.5, some 4.5 by 4.5, some 2.5 by 2.5, 2.5 by 6.5 from the background fabric. The only one shape we don't need from the background is 6.5 inch square. Don't worry about remembering the sizes. I will make a handout which will be available on my website, so you can download it from there. Okay, and for the main fabric we will need following pieces. So I will need 2.5 by 4.5 rectangles. I will need 3 squares 2.5 inch. I will need 2 pieces 2.5 by 6.5, and I will need 1 square 6.5 by 6.5. And I'm actually using here a crumb which I made from the same fabric. I had some strips of the fabrics, I just sewed them together. That's how I like to use my crumb kind of technique blocks in my magic numbers as well. So if you have a lot of scraps from cutting out some shapes from the same fabric, just put them all together and you can use them like this as well. And as you can see, I've chosen for this block to go with like all yellow, but I will do another 3 blocks with different combinations. So I'm trying to keep my background fabric the same, so bright. Again, you can have your own combination, but just use the same color for the background for all of your blocks, and then use different color combinations for your main fabric to do it. So let's just place the blocks now where they will go. So we'll start kind of, I will go from the bottom up on this occasion. So I've got my 6.5 inch square, and then I want to put my 4.5 inch background with 2.5 inch strip background. So as we know from the magic numbers, when I sew those two together, this is going to be 6.5 inch. So I can then add it to this one. Then I will add my 6.5 by 2.5 inch strip. And then at the top we will go with background fabric again. And again 2.5 by 6.5 inch strip. Again, I'm using some fabrics wrong side as the right side because I want to have it brighter. So that's my first column. The second column, 6.5 by 2.5 inch strip here. Then we'll go with 2.5 by 4.5. Then we will go with background square. Again, I will be using here all the wrong sides as the right sides. And then a main color. So as you can see, I'm trying to kind of create, as I'm going through those pieces, create a contrast between main fabric and background fabric. Then we have a background fabric again, and we have a main fabric, background fabric again. Don't worry remembering about all of those things, like where they go, because there is going to be free handout on my website, so you can download from there. That's all sorted for you. And the last pieces, background, main, background and main, and that's our block. And I've called this block Wonky Checkers. I don't know, just came to me, so that's what it is. So this is gonna be easy to sew as a 16 patch. I know we will probably very often talking about 4 patches, 9 patches. This is 16 patch. Basically you've got 4 by 4 layout. It looks a little bit more than 4 at the moment because I've got these ones here which are not one piece, and this is where I'm gonna start sewing first. So when I sew those two together and put it back, this is now my 16 patch. Okay, so as I've mentioned, we're starting from this one because this needs to go back to give us that 16 patch there. And if you have decided to make X amount of blocks, you could obviously chain all of those pieces together in one go, because they're all going to be in the same shade. Whatever shade you go with as your background fabric, they all will be the same shade. I'm not going to be taking it to the iron either. I will just finger press it, put it back, and it's ready to sew further. Now whether this piece will be on left side or it's going to be on the right side, again, it doesn't matter. What we want to achieve is a rectangle to a 4.5 by 6.5. So where that placement here is, it's irrelevant. But now we are ready to start sewing our 16 patch. So I'm just taking first 2 pieces, and I can start sewing and chain piecing everything. First round stitched, I will just move those pieces away here to make myself a little bit more space, and we can add a second column. And now I'm ready for the last column. I can see my fabric shifted a little bit here, but that's okay. This is like a hair shifting. I will lose it in the seam when I will go other way, so I'm not that worried here. It can happen, so don't stress and don't worry about it that much. If it's just a little bit, you can lose it in the next stitching pass. Okay, now the fun part, putting it back the other direction. As you can see, the threads are holding nicely my block. There's no need to pin anything. You know exactly what goes with what. That's the beauty of the chain piecing and using those 4 patch, 9 patch, 16 patch techniques to stitch stuff. So it kind of helps you by removing additional steps where sometimes maybe you would need to use pins or things like that. So however, if that makes your life more complicated, you worry about shuffling too much fabric, by all means, just stitch one thing at a time. Whatever works, it's good for you. Okay, so let's start from the top. And I will nest my seams here. In that first stitching, first kind of pieces coming together, the directions of the seams is not that important. It's where it goes through the second and third time you will need to pay attention to those. So the always piece you've got stitch goes on the top, so then you can see which way your seams went, so you can mark them correctly on the other side of the same seam. So that's how I always work, so I don't have to remember, or kind of shifting fabric, looking there, seeing how they went is just easier this way. Okay, this seam went down. I will go down on this side as well. This went down, so the bottom one will go up. And this one went down as well, so the bottom will go up. And this is that one piece where we had 2 pieces here stitched together for that middle section. So again, just check which kind of direction you went with the seam on this side and stitch it. And now the last stitching on this one. It feels like, you know, this should be at the top, but actually keep it at the bottom, because again you can trace how you did your seams, so you don't have to stop to look at the bottom all the time. Here we go, block is ready. In no time, once you've got your magic numbers cut and pull out just the relevant colors and shapes, really blocks are so quick and easy to do. So you only need a few to make a quilt. I will make 3 more of those blocks in different color combinations, and I will pop them on the design board, and we'll see what we can mash up with those blocks together. Before I show you my finished project, just a quick reminder where you can find me and how you can support my work. You can subscribe to my website to be notified when new tutorials, products or patterns are released. You can find me on my Facebook page, Pola Photo, or you can join my group page, Pola Quilting with Friends, where we all share work made inspired by my tutorials and answer any questions you may have. There is Instagram account called Pola Quilting, and if you like to share something you made based on my tutorials, please tag me using hashtag Pola Quilting with Friends. To support my work, please like, comment and share when you see my posts or tutorials. Let your quilting friends know about this channel and invite them to the group and subscribe to my channel. If you like to contribute extra, you can use super thanks on YouTube or buying me virtual tea, coffee or lunch available on my page. All links are in the description below. I would like to thank you all for all the support so far and letting me grow in what I do. Here are finished large blocks which I have called Wonky Checkers. So the final size is 12.5 by 14.5 unfinished, and it took under 5 minutes to complete one block. There are very few options how to lay them out, so I'm showing you here both horizontally and vertically the same kind of layout. And if you make few as a mirror image as well, then obviously you can have even more options with the layout. Because there is a balance there between background bright fabric and contrasting main fabric, you can really use it with any type of scraps. It will still make it nice, kind of balanced quiet quilt. I can totally see this block in the shirt fabrics. It will make nice elegant memory quilt, I would say. Or how about using scraps from any of your quilt project and make those ones into a backing. So you have something at the front what you worked on and your scraps on the back, and you will have a really awesome double-sided quilt. Let me know in the comments what you think about the blocks and which layout you like the most. And obviously if you have any questions, please also leave them behind. Thank you for watching. I hope you will share this tutorial, subscribe if you haven't done so. Happy sewing and see you next time.